And here we are. Terry, you're back?
I am, and it's been a long time.
It has.
How long's it been? When was the first time I was on your shows?
Gosh, I don't even remember.
It's been a number of months.
Yes.
You've been raising all kinds of with Arthur, haven't you?
But we've had
Since then.
so many requests to have you come back.
You haven't had requests
Oh,
to have
yes,
me come
we have.
back.
Oh, yes, we have. We have a lot of listens. As a matter of fact, several of the shows that we got the most response from, I've posted on the website at astrologygenehart.com, and they're going to stay there permanently because they're so good. Yeah, he's got a little insecurity factor here, apparently.
Well, that's good to hear.
No, I'm
Praise
serious.
God.
You've
Yeah.
got the best radio voice ever, and we're here to talk. We're Trumpsters.
Boy, are we Trumpsters.
And we're making the Trump train go a little faster because we're going to do a show that's going to expose all the things that we know that the world needs to know about Trump that no one's talking about in the media.
Well, a lot of things are coming out, but we're gonna touch on some things that other people probably wouldn't talk about. Or what are we going to take? Some spiritual avenues, some astrology avenues.
Yeah, we're going to take them all.
Okay, well that's good. And why are we Trumpsters? You know what my answer to that is? He's the only guy that seems to be exposing the lie and exposing the truth. He's the only one that seems to be speaking with common sense to the common man.
Well, it's almost like he's unveiling the mysteries of the political system that nobody has wanted to talk about because it's a cover-up. There's a huge cover-up. Not that we're militia-oriented or anything like that, but in the reality of the government, they don't tell you unless you need to know. If you need to know,
Right.
they might tell you.
Right.
Might.
Yeah.
And what Trump does is he comes in and he just lays it on the line.
I
And
know.
you got the choice to like it or not.
Well, he's not trying to be politically correct. So that's one of the very first things he started doing was being politically incorrect, and then it's just been one thing after another.
He started this momentum of making noise, like just yelling at someone, and shattering the whole concept. And he'd bring up something that was so left field that you had to stop and think about it. And it caused people to go into shock. But then a couple of days later, they'd go, whoa, he's right.
Yeah, and he'd get the media talking about it, and one thing or another. And just when everybody thinks he's said something really stupid, he was like playing chess with them, and they didn't even know it.
And he ends up being right.
Yeah.
I mean, he tagged the terrorist thing that happened in Orlando a couple days ago.
Yeah, he
He
did.
tagged it. He said, the family knows. He said it the day before anybody found out that the family knew.
Did he really?
Yeah. So, I mean, he tagged it.
Yeah.
He's got vision. He's a visionary. And I think he gets this from when he was a little boy, that one of his first mentors was Norman Vincent Peale. So every Sunday they go to church, and guess who the preacher was?
Oh, he went to the church where Norman Vincent Peale was speaking?
Yeah.
Or preaching?
Yeah, power of positive thinking. And so he started from the get-go, I'm going to win, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and every positive fiat you could possibly come up with.
I was just reading where his three favorite books are. Number 1, the Bible. Number 2, The Art of the Deal.
Mine too.
Yeah, and number 3, The Power of Positive Thinking.
Yeah, Norman Vincent Peale. And that's one of the first books that I read when I started on my metaphysical journey, because my mother had it on the bookshelf.
Okay.
And I saw as a little girl, and this man was just, you are what you say. If you say you are great, you are great.
Oh, so he was using like fiats and positive affirmations and things.
I think he was truly a son of the Solitude.
Right.
Or a member of the Great White Brotherhood.
Yeah, could very well have been.
The Great White Brotherhood is not a racist brotherhood. This is not a white or a black brotherhood. It's a...
Well, the white represents the light of all the different colors.
Right.
Excuse me.
So
where do you want to go first with Mr. Donald J. Trump?
Well,
What do you want to talk about?
we talked in one of our shows about the science of sound.
Right.
That's where I was going with my point. He makes a lot of noise, and it shatters the force field, so to speak. And everybody has to stop and go, what did he just say? And so that's what he did with the wall. That's what he did with the Muslim, you know.
Right.
That's what he's, saying the Muslims, we're going to have to vet them.
We're gonna have to ban them from coming in, but
Yeah.
it was like a temporary ban, is
Right.
what.
Well, first he says the ban, and then he puts the little word in, so that he gets your attention.
Yeah, that's right.
And the economy, I mean, all the way down the road of all of the ideas that he wants to give to America to make it great again. And then when he first, remember back in June, I did his astrology and I did a radio show on it and I predicted he would win. I saw that he would win. I know he will win. Of course, astrology is based on your free will choice. It shows the subject and the type of a tide that you have in your life, but you make the choice to be or not to be. And that is the question.
So you come in with your astrology based upon when you're born with potential.
Time, date, and place of birth, yeah.
And if you follow the will of God with all of your decisions, you will fulfill that potential to its greatest.
Or you make the higher choice when you find yourself in a situation.
Okay.
And if you look at the chart, you'll see the situation. And then you'll see the tendency that you have. And then you can choose to go with that tendency or resist the urge. Because you live in a gravitational pull, it's easy to go down. So it was easy for me to see that Trump was going to win. And I took a lot of flack for that. Oh my gosh. You would not believe the emails and the phone calls I got about Trump. What are you thinking?
When did you do that to begin with?
Last June.
Last June.
So it's still on YouTube. It's on YouTube if you want to hear it.
When he made his elevator or his escalator announcement?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I immediately did his chart. I immediately loved him. He's got a Leo ascendant and Mars and Leo on his ascendant. Leos like to be the center of attention. So that's why a lot of times you catch him bragging or talking about himself. But if you look a little deeper, you'll see this great big heart.
Yeah.
He forgives fast. So he'll get mad at one of the candidates that were running against him. And then they'd say something nice to him. And he'd immediately turn around and pat him on the back.
Remember that guy that he kicked out of at one of his rallies because he kept asking the question, asking.
Right.
He said, just get him out of here. And then later on, he invited him back in to find out what it was he wanted to say. He didn't want him interrupting his rally.
Right.
So he was forgiving. See?
Yeah, very forgiving man. And see, the Leo is ruled by the sun, and Leo is a sign that rules the heart. So you find a lot of Leos are very generous and very giving, very,
I used to entertain with a Leo, Rudy Perez, and he was all of those things you say. He was a perfect balance for me. I'm Aquarian, and so we really, we polarized with each other really well.
Well, they're also royalty, and I bet Trump's got, not only do I think that he was General Patton, I just think beyond a shadow of a doubt, or General Patton's twin flame, one or the other.
Uh-huh.
He was definitely on the front lines because you look at him and you just see nothing but strength. Then I've thought, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, remember those?
The WASP? Yeah.
The great fighters from the Saxon days, really strong and bold.
The helmets with the horns, and, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so it's easy for me to see that.
So as far as twin flame is concerned, Patton could have been a male and he could have been a female. But of course, for our listeners, you can flip from one embodiment to the next. It doesn't matter what you're in right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's in every 7 year, you're female for 7 year, and then you're male for 7 year, because you have to learn how to use both bodies.
Yeah.
And you have to be the king and the queen, the slave and the,
and the master.
And the master and the play all roles. So however you treat people on the other side of that is how you'll be treated.
Yeah. What I think is interesting is the ladies that he marries. He's in his third marriage, but they're all Czechoslovakian or Slovenian or from other countries, except for Marla Maples, I think, was not from a foreign country. But he's picking people that are tied to him from previous embodiments, probably.
Yeah, karma. Yeah. He's got karma with those ladies.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing wrong with being married more than once. I think you write that in your screenplay before you come here.
Yeah.
If all the world is a stage and we're just the men and women playing the parts, then everybody that's playing a part in your life is playing it for a reason, because you have some sort of something to work out with them and or capitalize from them.
Right.
So it's either a credit or a debit, so to speak.
Yeah.
What do you think we got, Terry? Credit or debit?
Well, debit's a better word. No, credit's a better word. I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Just don't charge me any interest, okay?
As long as you work in harmony, that's the key.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what the
right.
energy is. You just got to be harmonious.
It's true.
Yeah.
What else can we say about Trump? You know, the media hates him. Megyn Kelly, oh my gosh. That woman, Scorpio all the way. She stings him constantly. She never gives him a break. But, you know, I just feel this uncomfortability when she starts talking. It's like I want to turn her off because she's not letting people say what they need to say. She cuts them off at the pass.
Oh yeah, just when you're in the middle of answering something,
Yeah.
yeah, she'll
She's got
terminate
control
that.
issues. You know, either that or maybe her bosses tell her, don't let them go past this line. You know?
Well, what they call the mainstream media now is practically everyone within that has been exposed. And on one of the websites that I read a lot, which is the Conservative Treehouse, they're referred to, the GOP elite are referred to as capital GOP with a small e. So that's what all these people are, and they're all Wall Street, and they're all Chamber of Commerce people.
And they're all tied to each other too.
And he doesn't have any of those ties.
No. And the media is getting exposed. I don't think people really a few years ago thought about how manipulative and powerful that the media, could be.
Yeah.
And now it's like, whoa, that wasn't true. They just said an untruth.
I know.
I've been really studying and watching very carefully Trump's rallies and then what the media says after the rally. And they cut and they paste and they say and they spin it the way that they want it. And usually it's negative. It's amazing to me that they can get away with that.
Yeah, and we went to the Billings rally, but the final video doesn't even have the mayor of the town who gave a beautiful invocation, as a blessing.
I know. That was amazing.
So they dropped that out. And they dropped out also the guy that was dressed like a Marine. So they just cut and paste, like you say.
It's really sad. He really impresses me because he calls a spade, and he doesn't care what comes out of it.
Yeah.
In other words, people send him hate. They send him aggressive mental suggestion, which is, somebody, how that is.
Well, explain that for our listeners. Aggressive mental suggestion. It's a thought, and it has power.
Yeah, because you're thinking something negative about someone, or you want to drive your point down their throat, so you push it on them, and he gets it from all the politicians. So he's getting hatred, he's getting all kinds of things thrown at him, and he just stands there and takes it, keeps a smile on his face.
Yeah, and Paul Ryan, he refuses to work with this man, you know what I mean? And, Trump comes out after this Orlando terrorist activity, and Paul Ryan just thinks that Trump is just way off his rocker.
Well, what I hope that Trump does when he gets into office is looks at Paul Ryan and says, "You're fired." Because he's a traitor in a way, because he was Mitt Romney's partner, and Mitt is on this crusade for a cause to tear down the political Republican Party by destroying Trump because he's the elect.
Right.
And what he wants to do is rebuild it after the election. And he wants to put himself in a position of power to do that.
Right.
So this is he's got a motive for doing all of the things that he's doing against Trump. He's got, but Trump has strategy. He's not telling everybody everything because he's got the chess game.
Yeah,
going.
that's right. It's exactly what it is.
And he can keep his head about him when people are throwing stuff at him. Except for that one time, what was that debate when somebody said something about Bush and...
Jeb Bush, was he on stage with him?
No, I don't think it was about Jeb Bush. Somebody made a comment about the Bush family, and he said, "That's a lie." And, everybody got upset because they could never believe that Bush would do anything bad.
That Bush would be involved in the 9/11 thing. Right. Yeah, I think that was it.
I don't know. I read Art of the Deal, and I think, he is definitely a deal maker. And in these times, if you think about George Washington's vision, and if you've never read George Washington's vision, go to the Library of Congress.
And you could probably Google it, George Washington's vision.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
And read it, because it's happening, honey.
Well, it's kind of it's been a long time since I've read it and kind of gone over it. But basically, George Washington at Valley Forge had this vision where the goddess of liberty appeared to him in his tent, and showed him, like in 3 stages, kind of how America would be born, and then the second stage was how it would rise, through the Industrial Revolution, and then the third stage showed this dark red cloud covering America. But what happens is the hand of God rolls it back. So I think what we're seeing now is a dark red cloud starting to cover America, and hopefully there's not a lot of bloodshed that'll happen. I mean, we're already having it, but yeah. So
I do think free will choice, if people just start getting back into their hearts and using a little common sense, which is another thing Trump says all the time. I mean, common sense. Some of these decisions, people are making these decisions for money. Bottom line,
Right.
follow the money and you'll find where all the bad guys are, because that's what this is all about.
I can't believe that Hillary Clinton has sold technology to the Chinese for money to be put into the Clinton Foundation. I mean, that's just outrageous.
And Saudi Arabia donated $10 million to the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
Now, think about this. Saudi Arabia doesn't like women, and they don't like homosexual activity.
Right.
They will kill you if you...
And who were the first people that wanted to donate an $8 million check to New York City to Mayor Giuliani right after 9/11? The Saudis.
Yep.
And he refused to take it. Interesting.
Yeah, it's people need to read between the lines. And also, when you hear Trump being silly or loud or whatever, listen to what he's saying behind that little, because there's more.
Kind of read between the lines.
Yeah. You know, the people that tell me that they don't like Trump, I laugh because I know that they have never really listened to what his message is. They've only heard the outer noise, which is what he does to get your attention, and then listen.
And, I'm going to quote Edgar Casey, paraphrasing. He said that people with common sense are the people that have sense that is common to God's.
Yeah.
Don't you like that?
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense,
Somebody told me that Edgar Casey is going to reincarnate in 2035
No
in
kidding.
Nebraska.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
He'll be
Or
living...
maybe, no, he made that prediction about himself. Excuse me.
Did he?
Yeah.
In 2035?
Yeah.
And he talked about the coast of Nebraska.
Yeah.
Kind of scary
Ooh.
thought.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go that far. I think,
It may not, because that's handwriting on the wall.
right.
And handwriting on the wall can always be altered by free will choice to do the best thing.
Right. What did they say? Since 1970, I've heard that California is going under, and it's still there.
No.
Power of prayer or something. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
holding it up. But anyway,
I just wanted to say I'm glad you're doing this show, and I know you've got some notes and things to go through there, but I really appreciate, that we're doing this for Trump right now. I think it's a really important time.
I love Trump.
Yeah.
I love Donald J. Trump. His middle name is John, in case anybody wants to know.
Oh.
We have gotten into the habit of calling him Trump because it's such a powerful word, Trump.
And the family name was very close to that, but it wasn't Trump, was it?
Probably Trumpster.
Well, let me see if I can find it while you're doing something there.
Yeah. So he's 35,
Okay.
although some people like to say he's just turned 70. His birthday's on June 14th. And I wanted to say his astrology has been very difficult this last month. And that's why you've seen such a bombardment of hatred. He's got a Pluto square Jupiter. The media is not telling the truth about him. And these individuals that are powerful are going after his throat, basically. And I think this is going to stop. Surprisingly enough, you're going to see that all of a sudden they start noticing that he's right. And he's right more. And he's right more. Saturn trine Pluto from now until September. And in August, Jupiter sextiles his Venus, trines his midheaven, Uranus sextiles his Sun. So from August on, right at the convention, right after the convention, it's like he goes up the ladder, straight to the stars.
Really?
So he's had some tough astrology. Anybody that had a Pluto square Jupiter running for a political office and a Uranus square Saturn would be, bent over and probably would resign and say, forget this.
Right.
This is too hard. But Trump is standing there taking it. He's not giving up. He's not a quitter. He's like, crusader.
Yeah, and he's been thinking about this for a good 20 years, I'll bet, He's been watching the scene change, and within his soul, he's known that this is the time to step up, use the money that he's built. God gave him and he knows that God has given him everything that he has, and he's going to use it to make America great again.
He taught his children that too, that concept of, you have a little bit of ease in life.
Uh-huh.
Be grateful for this. Don't misuse it.
Uh-huh.
And he always told them every day, don't ever smoke, don't ever do drugs, and don't ever drink. Every day they got sick of hearing it. They never did. Look how amazingly graceful they are, how successful they are, how balanced they are when they present themselves, how well-mannered they are. That says a whole lot about Donald Trump.
Yeah, it really does, just to see his family.
Oh, I would love to have him as a dad. Oh, my God.
I was just going to tell you, I did find this. Friedrich Drumpf Trump. So Drumph, I think, was probably a family name that got changed to Trump.
Well, I think it's a great name, Trump. It's a branding name, too. I mean, he is trumping. Hey, he's the Trumpster.
We're the white version of Diamond and Silk. Toned down just a little bit.
Yeah, very toned down.
those two are a scream.
I love them.
Oh,
First time I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh. They
for the people that don't know, that's the black lady, the two black ladies that just are on fire for Donald Trump. They've got their own website, their own channel or whatever, and they were on one of his rallies, the other night, and it was a scream.
Yeah, every time I see them, they make me laugh. They're so gifted, that especially the faces that the quieter one, she's always agreeing. Yeah, but the
way
face.
she responds.
Oh my God,
she's funny.
Did you know that Melania, his wife, who hopefully will be our first lady, speaks 7 languages?
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
7. She's amazingly poised.
I don't mean
amazingly well educated.
I don't mean to correct you, but is it Melania? Melania?
I thought it was.
What do you think,
Melania.
Stephen? We're going to ask our engineer.
I think it's Melania.
Melania? Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm from Kansas City, and the thing about Kansas City is you got the southern accent, you got the eastern accent, you got the western and the northern, all in that, because we're in the heart of America.
I love that area. Of course, I started entertaining there in 1961, which was a long time ago, Jane. 1961.
Yeah.
Anyway, great place to start a career.
Well, Trump's grandparents immigrated to the U.S. from Germany.
Okay.
Even though his mom was from Scotland.
I think so. Yeah.
His grandparents were Germans. They are the hardest working, most industrial race, I think, on the planet.
Right.
I mean, they get in and they get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
And I think President Trump does the same thing. He's a workaholic. He loves to work. It shows up in his chart. He whistles while he works and hums a merry tune, and that's why he's always happy.
I'll bet he does. Really.
He does.
Yeah, well, and that's blue collar.
Yeah.
That's why he can speak to the common people of America.
Right.
Even though he's this billionaire, he's blue collar.
His progress moon is in Cancer right now, which makes you very, very maternal. You just want to care for everyone. It's in his house of friends and social life. It's like he's real when he's telling you, hey,
Yeah.
he points to people in the audience and says, what'd you say? I like that,
Remember when he got down off the stage and hugged that girl that he'd helped her son, with something?
I know. Yeah, the son died, I think, right?
Well, I don't think so, but he, anyway, and she was she went through a beauty contest.
Beauty contest. Okay, yeah. She has cancer. She had cancer.
Yeah. But that's the way he is. He just wants to hug you.
Yeah. All those vets that, I just wish the media would stop taking his words and turning them upside down and inside out. I'm so tired of that.
I don't think they're going to stop until this astrology changes, because you may be right on, and maybe these people who are the mainstream media are just going to see that there's no other way to go.
Well, as of June 26th, it looks like he's going to start going back up again.
I see.
So, I mean, give or take a few days, we've had some major earthquakes, which kind of rock the axis of the earth a little. So there's a wobble. So sometimes these events happen a little earlier, sometimes later. It's like timing the tide as it comes in. The moon pulls on the tide. There's a high tide and a low tide every day.
Right.
You can figure out what time they come in and what time they go out. It's like a clock. That's what your chart is the tides.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk some more about his background.
Okay.
He's got what I call a very American story. He's a true American.
Well, it's the American dream. I mean, his father was in the real estate business, and what was it? He built, his father Frederick amassed like $500,000 in today's dollars back then. Anyway, this thing I wanted to say was that became the seed money of his current Trump organization, and then he just has built upon that.
He has been the greatest career achiever of the baby boomers generation. And, my favorite show, guess what it was?
I don't know.
Now that he's not doing it anymore.
The Apprentice?
Yeah.
Oh.
Now that he's not doing it anymore, I have to watch Shark Tank, and they don't even come close. But see, I like to get business ideas, how can I be successful? So I watch those shows that I try to spend money on things that make me money, and I try to watch shows that give me ideas on how I can do better in my business.
Now, what he ought to do when he becomes president is he ought to have a show like The Apprentice.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And then he could bring on the people that are in positions of power that need to be relieved of their positions. And so he can close down certain things or whatever. And he can use his infamous phrase, "You're fired."
I know. I hope he does it.
Yeah.
Like Paul Ryan first off.
And then he can talk about all the reasons why he's closing down certain agencies and certain departments and one thing and another, The National Education Association, for instance, that all needs to be given back into the local area. So he'll close it down at the federal level.
Hopefully. Yeah,
Well-
I'm sure he's going to, just make some powerful change.
I mean, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think he's going to have the funnest people in the positions like vice president, Homeland Security, whoever,
Right.
Attorney General, and the Supreme Court judges that he will pick will be awesome. And my concern, and I want to bring it to everybody's attention, and I hope Donald Trump will listen to our show and put a little thought, and maybe you have already done this, Donald, but the rigging in the voting system. When they vote, those computers were bought by George Soros or produced by George Soros, and they do some of the counting in Spain, I understand.
Right. He uses software that operates from out of a Spanish company or something.
George Soros is the one who promoted Obama. George Soros is a hater of Trump. And so I'm very, very concerned about when they do the counting that it's going to be rigged.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a major concern.
So
I don't know what the
let's talk
solution is
a little
going to
bit
be
more about this and educate our listener to this fact. What do you know about this?
About George Soros?
Yeah, and about this software and about the voting system. And
Well, not a lot more than what we've just already said, but people can delve into it and you can find out, where all the fingers of things go and who's connected to who. I know they're excellent at connecting the dots on the conservative treehouse, but George Soros is a hater of. He's like really, really dark soul, and so he's the one basically that is hiring the $15 an hour anarchists that are appearing at these Trump rallies. Of course, most of them are over now, and now he just gives 24 hours, and he tells people that's all the time you got.
so George doesn't have time to.
George doesn't have time to hire people for
Right.
$15 an hour and get them on a
Yay.
bus and get them on a plane and get them out to an area. So that's why he's a lot safer today.
Well, I tell you what, a lot of those rioters, they looked pretty Mexican to me. They were burning the American flag. What American would burn the American flag? Give me a break.
Oh, and waving the Mexican flag.
Oh my
So
gosh.
a lot of these people believe that the lower four states over there on the west side really belong to Mexico.
What are they called? What are they called? What's the name of that group that believe
La
that
Raza?
the La Raza?
Yeah.
You know, that's what Donald was trying to tell everyone is, hey, look and see what La Raza is. Did the media go with that? No, they said when that
But the phrase La Raza, the word popped to the surface like an ice cube in water as soon as he went after that judge that's taking on his Trump University case.
Yeah, but they really tried to spin that and make it look like,
And then in San Jose, the chief of police and the mayor are both La Raza.
yeah.
So it's in the conversation now. Let's say
At
it
least, yeah. So that makes people think. That's what he does. He
Yeah.
raises the, and everybody goes, "What? Are you nuts?"
He just moved another major player on the chessboard.
He's so good. I'm glad he says, "Look, I'm not going to tell you everything I'm going to do to wipe ISIS out. I'm not going to show every move. I'm not going to write you a letter and let you know my schedule for what I'm going to do where the military is concerned."
Yeah, we'll be
Duh.
we'll be withdrawing from Afghanistan on the 21st of next month.
Right. We're going to bomb that oil field, make sure you're out of the way or whatever. No,
right.
I love that about him.
Yeah.
And the media really goes after that. He's not detailed enough. He doesn't tell us this. He doesn't tell us that. He must not have a plan.
He's not presidential enough.
He's not presidential. Oh my God. He's the most presidential of all of them.
That's right.
I see more strength in that man than
Anybody.
Yeah. So, that being said, I predict Donald Trump will win this election. He'll go all the way.
Do you think
astrologically.
it'll be a landslide of sorts?
I landslide of sorts. No, landslide. And furthermore, think about it. He has gotten more Republican votes than anybody else Republican that has ever run for president. Ever.
Yeah, that's right. In the history of the country.
In the history of the country. So, and that's in his chart. And he's moving into the White House. He's got Uranus, Trine, Moon, which is in everybody's chart. Whenever you have that, you're moving.
Didn't he say something funny like, should I move into the White House or that post office that I'm remodeling?
Right.
They're both going to be on the same street.
He said, I think I'll take the White House.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's got a great sense of humor.
Yes. And you got to have one in this day.
Yeah.
We're in the dark cycle of the Kali Yuga. Again, George Washington's vision. The red tide is rising.
Right.
Until 2025. That's when the dark cycle ends. And so I think that our karma or the heaviness of the planet and the bad choices many people have made is in our face.
Oh.
And it's going to accelerate. So we have to make choices. What side of the street are we going to stand on, the good or the bad? Are we going to let the Saudi Arabia buy our, buy us?
Buy our soul.
Buy our soul, yeah.
so to speak.
What is it? Are we going to sell our soul to the... So anyway, yeah. Well, do we have any really deep things that we should say about Trump that maybe the media isn't talking about? Or is there anything we can expose here more so than what we've said?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the guy is very interesting. He's very esoteric as far as I'm concerned, but as far as what I read about him, he doesn't study things that are just a little bit out of the norm, esoterics and one thing and another.
I don't know about that because he's got the media gave a tour of his house one day.
Right.
And in the middle of his front room is a giant statue of Archangel Michael. I mean, it's beautiful. And his house is done in gold. I mean, gold, real gold, which is precipitated sunlight, which is like the highest frequency of light on the planet. This guy's got attainment, esoteric attainment.
Well, he was raised Presbyterian, and he claims to be Presbyterian, but he's also, he's changed his political affiliation, back and forth as the times have gone.
He goes with the feng shui of it. It's like, this feels good. Okay, now it's not feeling so good, so I think I'm going to go over here because I'm going to stay where the light is, where the truth is.
Right,
and
right.
I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, and I'm not independent. I'm for the guy that's got the goods. And to me, Donald Trump's got the goods.
Yeah.
I mean, are you Republican or?
Well, my parents were Republican, but and so it would make sense that that would be the first voting that I would do. But then I saw JFK, and I thought, no, he's the man. So I voted Democrat.
He was Democrat.
Yeah. So, and for the most part, yeah, I followed the Republican way. And but the only problem with the Democratic Party or the Democrat Party, there is a difference I've seen, is that they always have a tendency, in my estimation, to be on the side of the glass is half empty. And on the conservative side, which generally is tied with the Republican Party, the glass is half full. And so I like to associate with people where the glass is at least half full and it's conservative. You take care of things and you don't, you just try and be the best that you can. You conserve. That's why you've got conservative.
Donald J. Trump, you got my vote. They say the women don't like Trump. I'm a woman. I love Trump.
I've seen comments on this conservative treehouse where these ladies just love Trump. So, Gene, who are some of these key people that are on his campaign? You got Paul Manafort,
yeah,
who came on after Corey had some problems, with grabbing that lady's arm and everything.
Yeah, all the women love the people that are working for Trump, and they love Trump. So when the media says the women don't like Trump, I don't know where they're getting that, because I've never talked to anyone who was female who didn't absolutely love him. So I love Katrina Pearson. She's the main spokeswoman. Oh my God.
Spokesperson.
Person for Trump. And she's so well versed. Anytime they throw a stone at him, she has some kind thing to say back. I've never seen such a balanced communicator.
Wow. Does she go on like Fox News and one thing and another?
Everywhere. She's everywhere. I love her. And every spokesperson I've seen, they're all just amazingly light. They're light bearers. They're all good people. You can see their purity. You can see their innocence. You can see their intelligence. These are very balanced people. Everyone, I've not seen one person come forward in his whole camp that hasn't been, just totally impeccable.
And he in his organizations, he's got like 250,000 people working, 200,000 or more.
Does he really? I didn't know that. Wow.
And so in his administration, he's going to have women and
As
really
executives,
top women, executive type, that are going to be just like what you described.
Oh my God. At the North Carolina rally, he said, he asked the audience, who do you guys want for vice president? And you had one section, calling out Newt, and another section
Condoleezza Rice and
then
Jeff Sessions.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I mean, the people loved that. See, he cares about what America wants.
Yeah. And let's talk about those three people for a moment. Newt Gingrich would be, in a sense, he would be a good choice, but in another sense, he's a part of the system that Donald Trump is kind of opposing.
Right.
Sort of opposing. And number two, Jeff Sessions. You actually mentioned Condoleezza Rice second. I don't know much about her. I would have a tendency to stay away from that. I mean, it'd be a good choice as far as a woman.
She was a Bush person.
Yeah, she's a Bush person. But Jeff Sessions, this guy, of course, he wants to retain his position in the Senate because he is so powerful there and the things that he does. And so that's the only downside to him becoming vice president. But he'd be a perfect choice.
He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I liked him instantly the first time I noticed him speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how many people we have in this Senate, and I don't have a clue. Thank you, Trump, Donald J. Trump, for bringing all of this to my attention and making me have an interest in what our government's doing.
Right.
That's what he has done for me. He's gotten me interested in politics again.
Well, let me talk a little bit about. Let's talk a little bit about what a Trump administration will look like.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll just take these. You interrupt me if you want to say something. First of all, America First Energy Plan, and I'm reading from the text of an America First Energy Plan that was presented May 26th.
That was right before he came to Billings. He was really tired at our rally.
That's right.
I noticed that he was tired, and he had done just an energizing speech that everybody said was amazing, and that's what you've got there. Huh?
And that's when he went over 1,237 or whatever the number was
Right,
that
right,
he,
right.
he
That
had
was a
to
great
attain.
day.
Yeah. So I've just got a couple of bullet points. Let's start with the top one. American energy dominance will be declared a strategic, economic, and foreign policy goal of the United States. Now that's powerful, and that's really what he wants to do. America has 1.5 times as much oil, listen to this, as the combined proven resources of all OPEC countries. We have more natural gas than Russia, Iran, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia combined. We have 3 times more coal than Russia, and our total untapped oil and gas reserves on federal lands equal an estimated $50 trillion.
Oh boy, super
Yeah.
PACs aren't going to like that.
So there, we could talk about energy for a moment. We can talk about the pipeline that Obama stopped, and that's a Canada-U.S. sort of a thing. But yeah, what are your comments regarding any of that? The economy. I mean, wherever he goes to Wisconsin, and he says, you guys, do you know that they're, I don't know that he said this, but I know this to be true. Do you know they're building Harley Davidsons elsewhere,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, if you got an old Harley, it was built in Wisconsin.
It was built in America.
Yeah, yeah. So they're either moving parts off shore and reassembling them here, or assembling them over there, or whatever. But I mean, these bikers, they're not going to want some foreign-made something.
No, nobody's going to want foreign made
No.
anymore. And I think that's one thing that he's driven home since he started running.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Bring it back to America. My father was in the steel industry. He was an engineer. He had a business. He had the largest NC equipment steel industry business in the Midwest. And the American Steel was shut down. American Steel Company was one of the biggest steel companies in the United States. And they went offshore to Japan and to China and sent all the steel business out there and started bringing in their machines. And I mean, my dad started taking trips to Japan to buy his turret lathes and all these big
What a shame.
rig equipment
Yeah.
things. Yeah, but I don't think anybody realized the damage that did to America. That was the beginning of it when the American steel industry got shut down and they went offshore to Japan to get all the steel things manufactured.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable change in our economy then.
Yeah, totally.
That was the beginning of the
devastating.
end.
Yeah. Well, what he wants to do also is he wants to rebuild our roads, our schools, our bridges, and public infrastructure. And cheaper energy will also boost American agriculture. So,
Well, I think about the Kansas City airport. It's like, good Lord. It's like from the Dark Ages. It's fallen apart.
really?
And
just over the river?
Yeah.
There?
And you go to Saudi Arabia's airport, oh my gosh, they got marble everything,
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
When I digress. When I was an art student in Kansas City, a buddy of mine and I would drive over there, and we'd lay down on the berm, that was just right there by the river, and for the and the airplanes taking off, it was like they were like 25 feet away from us. It was
You
like
can
a
see
total.
their belly.
It was like a total thrill.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I actually almost got my pilot's license. My uncle was a pilot instructor.
Really?
And I did touch and goes in that Kansas City airport, the original Kansas City airport.
Did you really?
That was fun.
Oh. Well, so those are some of the things, that he's going to do. And he's got a really solid 100-day action plan.
What's that?
Well, that's what he'll do in his first 100 days after he becomes president. He'll get rid of the executive orders, that are, not good. He's going to try and save the coal industry. He'll readdress the Keystone Pipeline. He'll lift moratoriums on energy production in federal areas. He'll revoke policies that impose unwarranted restrictions on new drilling technologies. He will cancel the Paris Climate Agreement and stop all payments of U.S. tax dollars to UN global warming programs.
Yay.
Yeah, I know. That's such
Oh
a
my
farce.
God.
But anyway, those are just some of the things.
Keep on going. I want to hear more.
He wants clean air and clean water. He's going to create real jobs and real wage growth. The environment is important to him. He wants to conserve our beautiful natural habitats, reserves, and resources. And that's where conservation comes in. Conservative. That's the word. Conservative. If you're conservative, that's the kind of thing you want to do. So those are some of the things.
And get rid of all the money that's going into the stupid climate change.
Oh yeah, they're trying to make it illegal for you to even be on the opposing side of that argument.
Hey, I live in Montana. I've noticed that when you chop down a tree, it grows again.
That's right.
Come on.
Yeah, and let's let the people go into the natural into the the forests, the federal forests, and chop down deadfall.
I know. You should see Yellowstone Park.
Yeah, bring it home and burn it in your stove.
I just want to take our little truck and go into Yellowstone and just throw all that log in the back end so we can have it for our wood stove. It's the stupidest thing ever. That park would be beautiful if we could go in there and pull out those
and
dead,
pull out the deadfall,
burn trees,
dead burn
trees.
Well, so those are a lot of high points here regarding our little Donald Trump show.
Well, I hope you aren't going to sleep out there, folks. But, when you go vote this year, please vote for Donald Trump. Please. You're not going to regret it.
No.
And yes, the voting might be rigged, so maybe say something to your friend. Maybe we should get this information out that George Soros is the one who provides the software for most of the voting machines, and he is anti-Trump. And so that software could be rigged, just like many things are rigged in our political system.
Can I offer a suggestion, a spiritual suggestion to our listeners?
Yeah.
Well, he's got this statue of Archangel Michael in his home or his office or whatever.
It's in his home.
In his home. Okay. Well, Archangel Michael, every religion on the planet knows about Archangel Michael. And they know him to be the protector of the faithful and the one that initiated the war in heaven. When the fallen angels fell, Revelation, he was the one that it was his job to do battle with these fallen angels. And so, however you want to pray, just pray to Archangel Michael for Donald Trump's protection, according to God's holy will. And you can have as long or as short a prayer as you want. But I think it's really important. I mean, it's one thing to wear, a protective vest, when you're out there speaking to people, which we know that he does. Mm-hmm. And he's got the Secret Service and all of his, protecting people around him. But it's another to make a spiritual call, a spiritual prayer. And everybody knows how to pray. So what do you want to add to that?
Archangel Michael is my best friend. He saved my life so many times, and he always gave me a witness so that I wouldn't think I was totally going nuts. But he said the reason he was is because the call compels the answer. If you ask me, I'll do it. But he can't impose on free will choice. So if you're asking him to protect Trump, just know this. All the people that are sending hate to Trump, that prayer is going to mitigate the energy of hate that hits Trump.
Right.
So that he's safe from,
Yeah.
It's like when you're out in a bar at 2:30 in the morning and you're dancing and you're drunk and you're just, totally not paying attention, you become vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And you need protection. And that is, Orlando, Florida's story. Those people became vulnerable because they were not, it's a tragedy what happened there.
Yes.
But it didn't have to happen.
No.
So Trump, people may try to, do things unless a lot of us do our prayer work for him to protect, to mitigate it.
And we have the power, God lives within us, and we have the power to say, thus far and no farther, according to God's holy will.
Yeah, and visualize Archangel Michael, a beautiful blue angel standing right where Trump is, and protecting him, with a mighty sword or, however you see Archangel Michael as a just incredible, powerful angel. Because if you visualize it and you say it with the love of your heart and you see it, wait, I said that. If you see it, you say it, and you feel it, it's going to happen.
It'll manifest. Yeah. Thoughts are things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Terry.
So, Jean.
I hope everybody's still awake. I noticed our engineer was yawning a couple times.
That's all right. That's all right. He's put in a full day of work, and you and we just puttered around the house.
Oh, love
Separate houses, but but you
Let's
did
clarify that.
you did feed him before we
did.
started the show, and that's good.
I did.
Well, thank you, Stephen, for being our engineer. Thank you, Gene, for having me on. And,
I loved it. I miss doing shows with you.
Oh, well, we'll do some more.
All right.
God bless you, listeners, you dear listeners out there. Now take this information and do something with it.
Vote for Donald J. Trump in November.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.